Welcome back to the Join FDNY Podcast. My name is Captain Randy Lee. I'm joined with
Captain Andrew Brown. What's up,
What's
Brad?
up, my
Long
man?
time no see.
What? Going
Another day in the life of
Yeah.
the Join FDNY Podcast.
a year we've been doing this.
Yeah, a year down. Man,
Yeah.
it went quick.
Yeah, it really
doesn't
did.
even feel like we've been doing this for
Not
a
at
year.
all. But we got to do the recaps of everything. We got to take a look at everything we did now, right?
100%. We had a lot of interesting interviews.
Yeah. So hopefully our listeners and viewers got some good information how to join the FDNY. We'll cycle through some of our favorites.
Absolutely. A lot of great information given out, too.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it. Very palatable. You know what? The Fire Commissioner kicked us off.
Yeah.
This whole podcast game started with her, Laura Kavanagh.
Let's start with the Fire Commissioner.
All right, let's go.
This is a really special place that you'll never really get anything like it. And that's not just a talking point. It's not just something we say. It is in every way, shape, and form a family and a real community. You know, there's a real commitment by us to the community and a real commitment to one another and the community of the FDNY. I want to make it common at some point for people to see other people in this seat, people that don't look like a lot of the commissioners. So, you know, I'm definitely going to work on building a bench of leaders who can come after me. But I'd also say my vision for the department more broadly is just always to make a great place even better. You know, we are the best and I think we deserve the best. And I'm very competitive, as we've mentioned. And so whether that's, you know, technology or equipment or safety or anything else, it's always about making sure we're either getting the best that's out there or even we're demanding what needs to be produced, because where we go, so does the fire service.
And how does it feel being that first woman to be the commissioner?
Yeah, you know, I still feel like me. So it's a hard question to answer, to feel something is so important and be so proud of it. And yet, you know, I just feel like a regular person still. So I don't know if I know how to answer that, but I definitely say if it matters to someone else, that makes me feel good. And so if it inspires someone else, if they see more possibility in their future because they look at me, I don't know how I got that lucky, but I'm happy I could be the one to do it.
It's nice to see an interview with the commissioner showing how humble she is about her role.
Yep.
You know,
And a lot of good information, just easily letting you know where we are, and you know, as far as the tests are coming up,
Right.
and as far as you know, what's the next step for FD, as far as our members and people getting on. That was very cool. And same thing with Dr. Kwame Cooper as well.
right.
Yeah, he's always talking about this time with LA and how that helped prepare him for this position here.
Yeah, and he shows off his passion for the job.
Let's take a look.
It's a phenomenal career. It's not really a job. It's, to me, like a way of life, like a way of contributing to people in the community, oftentimes on the worst day of their life.
It's true.
And they call us to come as firefighters and EMS professionals to fix it. That's a gift.
That is a gift.
I love it. I absolutely love the work with all of the challenges that come with it in terms of emergency incidents. And then now, as the Chief Diversity Inclusion Officer, I see this work as opportunities to improve the work that we do internally in terms of how we treat each other. And the thing that I love the most is working out of the firehouse with the members. That's where the service meets the customer,
Right.
meets the residents.
Right.
And that's the essence of the work. And that part I enjoyed with Los Angeles Fire Department, and now today with the Fire Department of New York. I get to visit and spend time with firefighters in firehouses, with EMS in EMS stations, with civilians, to understand the work that we do here in the FDNY.
Let me tell you, Dr. Kwame Cooper, that interview, he seems like he's not the old timer, but one of those individuals that when they speak, like everyone's all ears. Young, middle, and old.
Yeah.
Like, wow, he's like his timing with how he responded and what he was saying, like, it was impressive. It was very impressive.
And it's nice seeing that, and I guess we see this throughout all the later interviews as well, that there's just so much heart behind anybody in like a leadership role, and even just like your foot soldier role. Like, you got to really want to do what we're doing here. And, you know, if you can't do that, then maybe you shouldn't be here.
You got to bring the inspiration with it. It's like Lieutenant Walsh. Like, her interview was, first of all, very inspirational.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously she's a walking legend, and she doesn't feel that way, which makes the legend even grows even more.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a peek.
I remember in high school the first women getting on, or that process of getting on, and I just remember reading the stories in the newspaper, which of course you always have to take a step back and realize what is and what is not fact. But I remember saying, how can this be possible that these women can't pass this test? This is insane. This is, with the right training, anybody can pass anything. I'm a great believer that if you're going to, that you should know as much as you can about a job. And the only way to do that is to really immerse yourself in it. And I thought special operations was an immersion process, and I was not wrong about that. Unfortunately, it coincides with September 11th. I mean, I had just 4 years on the job when that occurred. And I remember certainly as we know, residents of the city, the enormity of it all, the shock. And then to just, I just remember, well, I can say this now. I remember going down late at night and searching and going down into those voids, just in a desperate attempt to find anybody.
Yeah.
And when you didn't, it was so just
So disheartening.
disheartening. It was almost debilitating at times because you just thought there's nothing to do. And that's, I thought, well, I want to do something.
I tell you, Adrian, man, when she's talking about 9/11 and how she's describing, searching through the piles, like you feel like you're going through it with her,
Yeah.
and coming back out. Also, when she finds individuals, when she doesn't, like it's still, I feel it, I get it, I understand.
I do like the point that she was bringing up about the immersion to like, just if you don't do that, you really can't do everything you can for this job, right?
Yeah.
And that's great because our next people that we interviewed, at least the ones we're going to highlight, we had Anthony Gaddis and Christabel Chin from the youth group.
Yep.
And they do an amazing job just starting them young, so to speak.
Yeah, always good energy as well.
Yeah.
Always good. I've never
they
seen
work
Anthony
so hard.
never seen Anthony with a smile, or even Chin. Never seen her without a smile.
Yeah, they're always like in the grind, just like making sure that the next generation coming up into the fire department
Right.
has all the tools.
Heart, body, and soul.
Yeah, let's take a look.
All right, let's take a peek.
We always tell the students we wear many hats. We're not just program managers, we're not just drill instructors, EMTs, but sometimes we're counselors. Be mindful because, again, as the new generations go on, it's a lot more different situations and obstacles they face that we have to now be more immune to and actually come on their level and speak to them in a certain way. So we always remind them that, sometimes they look at us like, oh, y'all just got us in the chin. And we're like, well, we were just like you before, so it's okay.
When I was in high school, there were some things that I wanted to be taught a certain way, and the teachers at that time were a little older and, was so used to how they was taught, where they decided to bring their knowledge and how they was taught to this generation. And it's kind of hard to do that. So I tell the students that we teach now, I'll say, I'm not that far. I'm far, but not that far from your age where I understand how you want to be taught. You want to be hands-on. You want to be engaged in a lot of things and activities.
They're signing up for, one of the best decisions they've made in their life, to be a New York State EMT and to just be open and willing for everything that comes their way.
So now that interview was exceptional, talking to Anthony and
Christabel.
obviously,
Yeah.
There was the youthfulness and then the energy and obviously the knowledge they have is very, at such a young age, is very impressive.
And they're showing a lot of wisdom and showing their flexibility to adapt to who they're teaching, right? That makes an amazing educator. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Especially one of our other favorites was Captain Safoli.
Captain Safoli.
He's very cool dude. He's I have a lot of energy, and I don't know where he gets all the energy from, because between the family life that he has and then the work life and the commitment, I'm like, I think he tells the son good morning and the son tells him good morning, not the other way around. Here,
Flexibility.
Flexibility. There you go. We'll take a peek and see so you guys can see what we're talking about.
Let's do it.
We all know that it's not easy to get up and do stuff early. It's not sometimes fun. It's not really what you want to do, whatever. But I always tell them it's not really about what you want, it's about what you need to do.
So there's a lot of science behind it. It's not just like, okay, they're doing very well with hands-on, or they're just a good runner, or just academics. There's a certain percentage for each, right? You can't just like be excelling in one. You actually have to be good in every area.
Well, that's the nature of our job, right? We have to have the book smarts. We have to know what's going on in that aspect. We have to have hands-on skills, and then obviously the physical conditioning, the functional type of condition that we do, and it all kind of overlaps in their evolutions and in job function. So when you're dealing with the unknown every time the tones go off, you have to kind of train in a lot of different areas to bring yourself up to that capacity. Consistent efforts will yield the results they're looking for. Nothing's going to happen overnight, and to get yourself ready for what the academy itself is, you have to be at a pretty high level physically for the demands of everyday life there.
Told you about Safoli.
Yeah.
A lot of good energy and a lot of good balance in trying to, juggle his life and the fire department. And he obviously shows that they're both equally important.
Yeah, that juggle is something we all have to deal with to a certain degree, right?
Yeah.
It's just the family stuff, the work stuff, and sometimes they get commingled together because your work stuff is like your family stuff.
Yeah, you're showing up for your family in your Class A's, and you're showing up to work
in your civvies. Yeah,
in your civvies. But who else we had? We had another great interview with Captain Timmy Smith and Jonathan Logan.
With Logan, right?
Yeah, that was a real good one. Actually, you even did a couple of podcasts when I was out with
After
Logan.
with Logan, yeah, because he was so much fun to interview with. So
yeah, no, he was very cool, and I love how they tied in, work and family, like we spoke about before.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, all right, let's take another look. So we're all fathers here, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Knowing each other a lot. How many do you have?
I got three,
right?
16 and 13 and 8. Well, I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm the professional Uber driver. I'm all over the place. Last weekend I was at a track meet, and I had a musical thing.
Yeah.
I'm thankful because that's part of one of the value points to this job is that, you could be home with your family. I think that's the role of a father is to really give your kids the full scope, right? Not just what they see in their lane, but
not
for
just
example,
sugar and lollipop stuff. You got to give them the real.
You got to give them the real thing. Teach them history. As far as Juneteenth is concerned, right? You teach them what all that is, right? I didn't really grow up celebrating Juneteenth,
right?
But in order for you to talk about Juneteenth, you got to talk about the Emancipation Proclamation, 1863. On January 1st. But many people, down in Texas, they didn't know anything about. They didn't know they were free.
They
didn't even know they were free. So
years gone by,
Union soldiers came in, some of them which were black, right? Came in and started reading this proclamation and setting people free, and they were like, "Wow, we're free." And so that's a huge deal.
I think one of the major things is about fatherhood, and it's my testimony is that it's not just being a father to your own children; it's about being a father to other people's children, which is why I coach.
Yeah,
and this job has provided me with an opportunity to do what I really love and is passionate about, and which is to help young men navigate the process of becoming men. And I do that through football. And it just so happens that I happen to be a captain in the fire department where I get to help these young men that come on this job navigate that process too. So it's twofold. So it's a beautiful thing. I just remember being a young kid and an athlete and being at games, and my parents were never there.
Yeah.
Because my father had to work.
He had to work, same here. Yeah.
So you're looking in the stands, you don't see anybody. And I always said to myself, when I got older and I had children, I never want them to look up and not see me. And I go out, I watch my daughter run track. The first thing she does, she's looking to see me.
100%.
Where you at, Dad?
We're taking the attendance.
What do you think? My son, same thing with football. Dad, what do you think on that play? Did you see? They're looking.
Yeah.
They're looking for you.
Yeah.
And this job afforded me with an opportunity to be there for these type of things. And I'm very, very blessed.
Listen, the incredible feeling of being an FDNY dad.
Yeah.
There's no if I can make it, it's how I can make it. There's always so many different avenues to be there, to be present. Captain Smith and Lieutenant Logan, those are one of my favorite interviews. Definitely make the top 10 easily because you see how busy they are, but yet you still have to be present for family, and they make that very well known.
I got to say, that's one of my more favorite interviews out of the ones we've done throughout the year, even though I wasn't involved in it. But I did get a chance to have Lieutenant Logan as my co-host for a couple of episodes with Stefan Douglas
and Brother Quarantine.
Right. And
that was a pretty cool interview.
That was.
I like the banter back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool because we get to see like the educating side, we have the leadership side, and now we have the medal day winners who get to talk about how they put the pieces together between all of that stuff and how they got to accomplish the mission. So
it's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Just like this show.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's take a look.
All right. How did you get your medal? What was the assignment?
I was off duty. I pretty much got, I was driving. So we're going to pull up to my house and ended up seeing black smoke pumping out the rear of one of the neighbors' houses. And I just got straight to action. The difference about my save is it was off duty. And I had an SCBA in my trunk from prior career days that I used as a prop.
He's a sick buff.
Yeah.
So, I used it as a prop, and I was able to think fast. I got to use the SCBA. I went around the rear of the house. I was fighting the fire with a garden hose, and I ended up hearing a little girl crying. I made a left-hand search. I got her out and continued fighting the fire until Ladder 159 came. They got the mother out. Unfortunately, she passed, and that was pretty much the job, though. The little girl survived.
And you decided to go out a window, essentially. Was it the roof or the window?
It was the window.
Okay.
What are you doing hanging out of windows? Firefighters hang out of windows? I'm sure you have to tell some stories about this. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about what happened. How did you wind up hanging out of this window? What happened?
So I was second due roof, and I was assigned to ladder 16 for the year rotation, and we got a call for fire that people were strapped. So for me, the roof position is my second due roof is my responsibility to carry the life-saving rope with me. So then I did my job that I was supposed to do. My whole company, we went to the floor above. Fire was on 20F. We went to 21, and then we set up the rope, and then I went out the window.
So what do you think is one of the most important things that you would tell someone who's wanting to join the FDNY?
One thing I would say for someone joining the FDNY is to stay in good physical health and condition. I think physical conditioning is probably one of the most important things on this job.
100%.
A fire doesn't care about your race, your height, your weight, how good condition you are. So you have to take control of the things that you can take control of.
Man, that was such a good interview.
Right?
That was really cool. You and Brother Logan did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
But it's so cool was that young in your career and having this under your belt.
Right.
Like, they're gonna be moving on to doing so many things with FD, and obviously when you hear how they search and how they found the victims, the Academy is completely ecstatic because that's what you were taught to do.
Sure.
You did it. Believe this. Trust what you saw. Trust what we taught you. And then look, now medal day.
Right. Exactly. And the ending where they were talking about just your physical fitness, that kind of segues nicely into the next interview we're going to highlight with Tyron Torres.
It was Torres. Yep.
Right. And we brought back in Captain Safoli because I guess that's his house where he could talk about that stuff.
Yeah, well, you know what? Being a fitness guy and then the fitness award winner, that only makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look.
Let's see how he did it.
For myself, I would say just focusing on one thing. Like I want to say mass more. Like I was push-ups, pull-ups, dips. Really no jogging. I didn't have no set. It was just I'd go to where I feel like it. I didn't really push myself. And with the fitness awareness program, they force you to push yourself. It's like, no, you're not done yet. You gotta go again. You're not done. So yeah, that's a major push, and it's a major help. We did a routine where we jogged for a minute, and then we had to run full speed for 30 seconds, and we did that for like 20 minutes. And they was like, this is just a taste. This is just the beginning. Like when you get to Pro B school, it's going to be way longer than this. And I was like, oh, I got to change up. So I came to more of the fitness awareness programs, and every time I took something with me, and I made sure I did that moving forward, and it made Pro B school much easier, and it still wasn't easy. In the house, they're very big on drilling and working out. Okay. So they got a thing on the board where they go through a program. I guess like one of the chiefs made it before he left, and they still go with that program. They had me doing that too, and it's like it's the same thing. It's like, wow, I gotta revalue myself and switch it up. So they keep me going. They keep me motivated over there. I would say the key is definitely make the fitness awareness program so you could get a look into what you're gonna go through in Pro B school, because it's a difference from the workout that normal people normally do. It's a whole difference, and you could work out but if you don't work out in a certain way, it won't benefit you.
That was so cool. Watching Captain Safoli looking at him like a proud
parent.
father. Yeah, like, yeah, that's right. Fitness award winner. He believed me. He listens.
Yeah.
And it's important because even, he was talking about working out, and I was like, yeah, you could bench press 225 12 times, but that's probably not going to help you if you got to climb 6 stories and you got no cardio done. So
Exactly.
just like with everything else in life, it's all about the balance.
It is always about the balance. So we have Brandon.
Yep, Mahan.
He worked for EMS recruitment, essentially.
Yep.
And he basically gives the ins and outs of how to get on this job for the EMS side.
Another individual I work with Brandon a lot, and another
Yeah.
individual that puts his mind, body, and soul into it.
Oh, he's 100% into it, for sure.
He cares.
Hardworking,
It'll show in the interview. Let's take a look.
Discipline.
Yeah.
Let that be your bridge from what you're dreaming until your success story. Make sure that whatever you're starting to do for this job, you're putting your all in, your best effort, because there are going to be a lot of folks that are filing this time around for it, right? It's a great job, and I think you know it. I've known it. A lot of folks know it is a great job. While it has its ups and downs, when you start at the academy, it can be a little rough.
Yeah.
It's a culture shock for a lot of folks. It's a military-driven environment, military-like driven environment. Standing at attention, making sure you're making way for those officers and other staff members, things like that. It takes time. So be patient with yourself in making that change that you're going to need to make. One of the big things is when we get folks that don't complete the academy.
Yep.
And it's important that they understand the amount of change that's going to be necessary to get through the academy. Right. Most folks, it's 8 to 9 weeks before they fully adapt to the new lifestyle that they have to undertake. And we're talking everything from the way you eat to when you sleep, because you have to create that study time.
Sure.
And if you don't create that study time, you're going to be off. So from me to you, work hard. Don't let anything or anyone stand in your way from this career. It can be a great career if you make it that. You're going to have to give it more than you think. A lot of folks believe they can just come in and I'm going to be fine. I made it through my physical, I made it through my medical, I made it through my background, and I'm good. No, and then they meet that wall at the academy. So my suggestion is take advantage of all the programming that we have. It's all free. Right. And make sure that you are ready to really work and give it your best.
I tell you, Brandon is always squared away. This is how he was when I first met him till now. I mean, I guess it helps with the military background as well, but the passion he shows, as always, and he's always crossing T's and dotting I's, and and he's very transparent. He'll let you know, listen, you're not doing enough to be on the job, and then he'll tell you, this is what you got to do, and we want to help you, and we offer a lot of programs.
Yeah, I mean, he's always super supportive, too. He shows up to all those events, and he's making sure that everyone has the right information, does it the right way, or at least steers them the right way, so they can make that lifestyle change that they need to. After that interview, I guess the viewers will now have an understanding of how to get on this job. But there's more to it, right?
Always
that
more.
Educational component. We already heard about the physical component that you need to maintain. But then when you get into the academics, it's equally as important.
Captain Mitchell spoke about it.
With Manny Melendez, right?
Yeah, with Melendez, yep. Yeah, we're going to take a look. So you have a new candidate coming on. Very excited, want to be an EMT, can't wait to study, be a medic, want to go up the ladder. What would you tell them to do? What would be the one thing you could tell them, like, all right, this is what you should focus on?
I would definitely say, be there with an open mind, study, study. That's really what it comes down to. And never feel out of place of asking any type of question if they're not sure of. That's what the instructors are there for. We want to help. We want to be able to give those answers.
I would say embrace the team concept. That, especially while you're in Pro School, and I'm sure it's the same with the EMS Academy, you're broken down into smaller squads who go through evolutions together. And there's going to be some people who pick it up quickly the first time.
Right.
Be that person who helps out the other people on your team. And recognize the instructors are there. They're always there to help you, but you have to be able to help yourself and help others on your team, in your squad. And I think when you get to your firehouse, when you pass the academy and you graduate, you'll really understand that team, how important that team concept is. And it's built when you were in probie school. I still remember the 25 other guys that were in my probie squad. I have their phone numbers.
I still have that paper with all their phone numbers.
Exactly.
I know I didn't even have my phone. I had a paper.
That's right.
We were still right.
That's right. Yep.
Not dating myself.
That's right. But again, just recognizing that, trust the process.
Right.
Master the basics. Right? The fundamental basics is what we need to master. And when you get a new probie into your firehouse, that's all you expect from them is to have a mastery of the basics.
Right.
Everything else, we are going to teach them on the job because there's so many variables depending upon what part of the city that you work in that you'll be exposed to, whether it's subways, whether it's overhead electrical wires, whether it's underground, so many different variables. Understand and master the basics.
And it always a circle back to just keep it simple and keep what you're doing on an everyday basis. Master the basics, just like Captain Mitchell said, and you'll be fine in life, not just this job.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put it all together and make that essentially like a lifestyle change. And it's not super dramatic.
No.
Just kind of go bits and pieces slowly along the way, and it just kind of changes everything, right?
How you climb a mountain, one step at a time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Master each step. That's all it is.
Right.
I believe you had another interview, one of your favorites as well.
Yeah. Chief Charles Morgan.
Yeah,
we had him on, and he was kind of showing the comparisons of his time in the military and then his stuff with the FDNY, and just kind of combining those together and showing like how they all helped both sides of his career.
Right.
So yeah, it's a great interview. We got to check it out.
Yeah, life experience always carries on.
I've been in the Army for the last 38 years. Right. I actually joined the military out of high school. So I did medical, I did transportation, I also did supply. And then when I came back, there was a girl that was working in EMS that told me about being, why don't you try and join EMS? At that time it was Health and Hospital Corporation.
Okay.
So that's when I joined, and I became an EMT.
Okay. So was that a weird transition coming from a military organization and then coming to something like the FDNY?
No, not really, because to be honest with you, FDNY is a paramilitary organization, which goes through the same ranks as, in the military, like, your private to your general, you have your EMT to your chief. So it's almost the same thing as far as a military structure.
What would be a nice piece of advice you would give to like other veterans who might be prospectively thinking about coming to the FDNY?
The fire department is very veteran friendly.
Sure, right.
They definitely, even in promotions and getting better opportunities and jobs, they do look at veterans and give us an opportunity. So I would say to a person that wants to join that this is a very good organization to join. Obviously, the fire department helps people. The military is another organization that helps people. It brings you back to the core of why you join organizations that help out people.
Always looking to help. Always looking to help. Brother Morgan's always looking to help.
Oh, yeah. Just like the FDNY is always here to help, right?
Absolutely. And you can see, with our, a couple selective interviews that we highlighted, but they're all our favorites.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have any bad interviews. I mean, it's been a really good year. We've had a lot of really cool guests. And, I encourage anybody who's watching, listening in to go back to the older episodes, anything that you haven't seen over here especially. But, yeah, I mean, it's been great.
That's the best part, right? We're just one click away, then boom, we're back.
Yeah. The wonders of the internet.
Listen, this is very cool. And you know what I like and I enjoyed a lot is actually working with you. Working with you, working with Michelle. Like
it's been a great time.
It's an excellent time.
We obviously have to thank our guests, our guest hosts, the digital media team from FDNY. That's Joseph Malvasio's team for putting together this podcast in the podcast studio. The fine people at the Fire Museum for getting us all these super cool props, which I will secretly take when no one's looking.
Me too.
Obviously, producer Dana Williams, who's not with the FDNY anymore, but she definitely helped launch this podcast. Producer Michael Kazada, producer Kristen Eng, producer Nick Gus, who's also our director. We see you back there. And of course, for studio support, we have Hugh Lesner and Kendall Hines somewhere floating back there. Because without all their help, obviously, we can't get this going. So, and I guess we'll see you next year.
I'll see you next year or in a couple of days.
Basically.